Tonight, we give you an inside look into one of Ukraine's most rapidly evolving tools in its war with Russia, drones. These small, unmanned machines have come to dominate the battlefield, from the front line in the east to long-range strikes against power facilities to the waters of the Black and Mediterranean seas.
Military analysts are calling it an unbelievable collapse, not because of tanks, not because of missiles, but because of drones. In a war already defined by cheap loitering munitions, mass production, and relentless nightly attacks, Ukraine has just flipped the battlefield equation. Russia's once dominant drone offensive, built around overwhelming numbers and economic attrition, is suddenly facing a new, dangerous problem: interceptor drones. Fast, cheap, scalable, and brutally effective, these small unmanned aircraft are transforming Russia's most successful weapon into a liability. What was once a cost-effective terror weapon is now becoming an expensive gamble. And according to multiple reports, Moscow was caught completely off guard. This is the story of how Ukraine learned to hunt drones with drones, and why it may reshape air defense warfare worldwide. Before interceptor drones entered the picture, one weapon dominated Ukraine's skies: the Shahed family of loitering munitions. Originally designed in Iran, Shahed drones operate like small cruise missiles at a fraction of the cost. They're slow, noisy, and relatively unsophisticated, but they don't need to be advanced. Their power comes from numbers. Russia began importing Shahed 136 drones from Iran in 2022, then rapidly localized production. What followed was a drone campaign unlike anything seen before. Nightly swarms of one-way attack, UAVs targeting energy infrastructure, air defense systems, military bases, and cities. At first, Ukraine relied on high-end air defense systems, Patriot, Iris-T, NASAMS, to stop them. These systems work. The problem is economics. A Shahed costs tens of thousands of dollars. A Patriot interceptor missile costs hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions. With Russia launching 100 to 600 drones per night, this imbalance quickly became unsustainable. High-end missiles had to be reserved for cruise and ballistic threats. Something else had to handle the flying lawnmowers.
The exchange we all witness has raised serious doubts that the end of Russia's war on Ukraine is near. Overnight, Ukraine said it destroyed more than 100 drones Moscow launched at several targets, which includes a medical facility in Kharkiv.
Russia didn't just copy Iran's design, it industrialized it. At a massive plant in Alabuga, Russia began producing its own versions, known as Geran drones, at scale. Ukrainian intelligence estimates that by late 2025, Russia was manufacturing 170 to 190 drones per day, including decoys. The upgrades were significant. Russian flight control systems replaced civilian GPS components. GLONASS navigation improved resistance to jamming. Modular fuselage design streamlined mass production. New materials simplified manufacturing. Warheads became larger and more diverse. Some Gerans carried thermobaric payloads, others carried submunitions. One 2024 variant introduced a 200-pound penetrator warhead designed to punch through hardened infrastructure. Recovered drones revealed even more worrying developments: onboard AI computers, infrared cameras, mesh communication systems, and experimental visual navigation. These weren't just dumb flying bombs anymore, they were evolving into semi-autonomous strike platforms. And then came the worst upgrade of all. The Geran 3, Russia's version of Iran's Shah 238, changed the rules again. This variant is jet-powered. With speeds approaching 370 miles per hour, the Geran 3 flies nearly 3 times faster than earlier models. It climbs high, stays above anti-aircraft fire, then dives vertically onto its target, gaining speed and penetration on impact. Gun-based defenses struggled. Helicopter intercepts became dangerous. Reaction times shrank. By late 2025, Russia had launched more than 38,000 long-range kamikaze drones in under a year. Even if Ukraine intercepted 80 to 90% of them, hundreds still got through every month, enough to devastate power grids, housing, and morale. Ukraine was facing not just physical destruction, but psychological exhaustion. Necessity breeds innovation.
And now shifting our focus to another flashpoint, Ukraine is creating its own anti-drone shield. The Ukrainian military is deploying short-range air defense and drone interception.
Ukraine responded by building a nationwide network of roughly 900 mobile fire groups.
The first explosion is meant to destroy a building. The second is meant to destroy the instinct to help. In Ukraine, Russian strikes increasingly follow a pattern designed not just to hit a target, but to wait, to observe, and then to strike again precisely when rescuers, medics, police officers, neighbors, and journalists arrive to do what people do after disaster: pull others from the rubble.
These teams, made up of military, National Guard, and local defense personnel, used machine guns, autocannons, man-pads, and helicopters to hunt drones. Working with radar, thermal sensors, and command centers, these units could rapidly reposition and plug gaps in coverage. It worked, but only up to a point. Against mass attacks, high-altitude profiles, and faster drones, even this wasn't enough. Ukraine needed something new. Ironically, the concept came from Russia itself. Early in the war, Russian reconnaissance drones loitered at altitudes too high for small arms. They guided artillery, identified gaps, and inflicted serious losses. Shooting them down with missiles was wasteful, so Ukraine adapted. In 2024, Ukrainian engineers began modifying FPV drones into air-to-air interceptors. Pilots trained in aerial dogfighting tactics. Within months, Russian surveillance drones were being destroyed by the hundreds. When Geran attacks intensified, Ukraine simply changed targets. But Gerans were bigger, heavier, faster, and flew higher. The interceptors needed upgrades. Those upgrades worked. Interceptor drones function like miniature surface-to-air missiles, with one crucial difference. They're cheap. Instead of firing blindly into the sky, operators receive precise target data from radar and observers. Interceptors are launched close to the target, minimizing travel time and maximizing hit probability. By early 2025, Ukrainian officials reported dramatic results. In Kyiv alone, interceptor drones reportedly destroyed hundreds of Gerans under the Clear Sky Initiative, an urban anti-drone dome built on mass drone deployment. By spring, at least 5 interceptor models had been confirmed in combat use. By summer, Ukraine's Defense Procurement Agency announced contracts for tens of thousands more. A dedicated program, Dronefall, aimed to destroy 5,000 Russian drones using FPV interceptors. Crowdfunding organizations joined in, manufacturers multiplied. The age of drone-on-drone warfare had arrived. One of the earliest successes was the Sting interceptor, developed by the Wild Hornets volunteer group. The Sting is deceptively simple: a quadcopter FPV drone with a central warhead, capable of speeds over 200 miles per hour and altitudes near 10,000 feet. Operators guide it via VR goggles, steering it directly into incoming Gerans. The cost difference is staggering. Sting Interceptor, approximately $2,500. Geran Decoy, approximately $10,000. And Geran 2 or Geran 3, $30,000 to $75,000. For the first time, it was more expensive to attack than to defend. Other systems followed. Semi-autonomous interceptors with onboard guidance, higher speeds, and improved terminal tracking entered service. Some could operate at 20,000 feet and engage targets more than 12 miles away. Foreign systems joined the fight too. Net-firing interceptors, German designs, and experimental machine vision platforms. Ukraine had become the world's largest real-world testing ground for counter-drone warfare. Ukraine's ambition is enormous: 500 to 1,000 interceptor drones per day. To reach that scale, partnerships were inevitable. Joint production projects with the UK and the Netherlands aim to manufacture interceptor and strike drones outside Ukraine, safe from Russian attacks. These facilities give European partners access to combat-proven designs while protecting Ukrainian output. The UK's Octopus project and a major Dutch-Ukrainian venture are already underway, combining mass production with battlefield feedback loops that no peacetime R&D program could replicate. Interceptor drones are not a silver bullet. The Gerin 3's speed exceeds that of most current interceptors. Its navigation systems resist jamming. Training skilled pilots remains difficult. Only a small fraction of FPV operators can master aerial interception. Reported success rates vary wildly, from 30% to over 90%, depending on the system and operator. And while claims are plentiful, publicly released footage remains limited, likely due to operational secrecy. Still, even partial success changes the math. If interceptor drones can reliably eliminate 70 to 80% of incoming attacks at a fraction of the cost, Russia's drone strategy loses its edge. What Ukraine has built isn't just a stopgap, it's a blueprint. Cheap attackers force defenders into bankruptcy. Now, cheap defenders are flipping the equation again. This model, mass-produced interceptor drones integrated with radar and command networks, may soon become standard across NATO and beyond. From urban defense to critical infrastructure protection, the implications extend far beyond Ukraine. The drone arms race isn't slowing down. Russia will adapt, Ukraine will respond, the cycle will continue. But for now, one thing is clear. Ukraine didn't just survive Russia's drone war. It learned how to win it, and the rest of the world is watching closely.